This week, my special guests are Alabama.
Hello, Ralph.
Is Alabama?
I know those guys.
That's true. That's proper.
They're some of my best friends.
Are they really?
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Cook is over here, Mark Herndon, Randy Owen, and Teddy Gentry. And you haven't been on this show in a couple of years. What have you been doing since I last saw you?
Playing concerts and recording albums and
doing Ralph Emery bootleg shows.
Are you?
We have quite a syndication now. Too.
Have you? Mark, are you still doing pigs and dogs and rabbits and... Because the last time you were here, I think we had a special section devoted to that.
what about water dropping? Water.
Drop in the bucket.
Drop in the bucket. There you go. That's it.
Thank you.
Hey, that's
leaking
good.
here.
Okay.
Just
That's
one drop,
cute.
bud. If you
That's
don't care.
cute.
I had a lot to drink.
Folks, that is Mark Herndon pecking on his jaw and making that sound at the same time. Alabama June Jam. We've had commercials that talked about it. I thought since you were here, you might talk about it in person. Is this the second? Well, I'll start with Jeff over here. Is this the second one?
The second annual Jam Jam. We want to try to continue this as long as it works, and we see no reason to doubt that it will. This year we're going to have as our guests Lee Greenwood and Janie Fricky, and it'll be on June the 11th.
The four of us, as Jeff just said, we purchase our own tickets due to the fact that the show is charity. No one gets in for free because the money goes to a worthy cause in around the charitable organizations for DeKalb County in that area of Alabama.
And the money goes for causes like Toys for Tots, Big Brothers, Big Sisters. We have 10 schools that we donate 2 scholarships each to for a boy and a girl that's not really financially able to go to college. And
Do they have to major in music?
oh no,
Okay.
no, that wouldn't be right to just say they have to major in music. Because some of the schools only have like 100 students in the senior class. Some of them down to 50.
Are you talking about at the high school level
Right.
or the college level?
Well, when a senior in high school going to college.
Okay, you will give him a scholarship to the college of his choice.
Yeah, there'll be 2. There'll be one chosen, and then there'll be an alternate if one should decide not to go to school. As in some cases with girls, they get married or whatever. We go ahead and we'll choose an alternate. But there's so many other causes rather than just what we mentioned. We give to the fire departments, rescue squads, Boy Scouts.
How do you determine what you're going to give to each?
Well, we get together at a table, and people send us in hundreds and hundreds of letters on what their needs are, and we just split it up as evenly as we can, and we go around then. I know 3 weeks ago I went around checking on the schools to see where the money was being spent for the playground equipment and things like that. A big thing with us is making sure that the kids have balls and bats and footballs, basketballs, and things like that to play with, because we feel like that if they have something to play with, that they're going to stay off the streets and be more interested in school. I know when I was going to school, I was more interested in PE than I was in books,
Mm-hmm. I've got 2 boys, I know.
Yeah, I know. You got 2 fine-looking boys,
Thank
too.
you. Jeff wants to, and I don't blame him. If I were in Jeff's shoes, I'd brag a little bit, too. You know this business we were talking about before we rolled the tape, about how well Alabama has done. So it's bragging time, Jeff.
Well,
let's talk
no,
about it.
I don't look at it that way. I'm just something I'm proud of. It's a fact. And that's
I think I would brag a little
Convinced
bit.
bragger, huh? That's even worse. Okay.
I like to go through the albums. The Feel So Right album is like quad platinum. It's 4 million
4 million copies.
plus, and add this up, bud. The Mountain Music album is triple platinum plus. Got that down?
Get that one?
The new album went platinum in 11 days.
That's the closer you get.
Closer you get. And the first album, which was My Homes in Alabama, is merely platinum.
That's 9 million albums, right, Mark?
According to my calculations here, I should, 400,000. Wait a minute, something's wrong with my machine. Wait a minute here. It's more than...
That's fantastic. You guys used to have a hard time getting arrested with your songs, didn't you?
Yeah.
Only way we could do that is be caught on the street after dark.
Or either play on the Bowery on Sunday.
So, Jeff, you mentioned that your anniversary at RCA, your third anniversary, is the 21st of April,
That's right.
and so that recently occurred.
Okay, that's right. 2.
So, in a span of 3 years, you've done 9 million albums. Not bad.
Not too bad.
When they give you guys an award, they have to give you 4, don't they? But I guess if you're selling that well, they can afford a little platinum jewel. You were about to say something, Randy.
A platinum jewel. I'd like to see one of those.
What's it? Randy, explain the difference in a gold album and a platinum album.
Well, the gold albums are 500,000, and the platinums are $1 million.
Okay.
Mark was so enthused when we got our first platinum record, he took it out and had it bronzed.
I want to go back to the June Jam for a moment, if I may.
Yes, please.
How many people showed up for the June Jam, the first annual last year?
27 or 28,000 paid, and we probably had
About 50,000 over the fence.
No, really, I think it may have been as many as 35,000.
Where do you, in the town, how big is Fort Payne, Alabama?
11,485 when we did Hee Haw, because we had to salute it, our hometown.
Okay. What does a town of 11,000 do with 30,000 people?
They go, they're just wonderful. The people in Fort Payne, Alabama do, the law enforcement people, state troopers, and the whole community is, I can't say enough good words about what they do, because last year it was the most professionally run outdoor event that we've ever been a part of. And naturally that made us feel great, because it's our hometown, that's where we grew up, that's where we live, and that's where we'll always live.
And it was our first event.
Yeah, it was the first one. The people there.
Why did you want to have a June Jam? Aren't you guys busy enough?
Well, I tell you, there's so many people that would call, and we knew there were a lot of needs there, and so I was talking to Joe Bunsell. They do a thing in Dallas, and we just kind of started kicking it around, and we thought, well, why don't we go ahead and try it and just see what it is? And Joe said, well, we'll help you. So they came last year and helped us.
The Oak Ridge Boys.
The Oak Ridge Boys, yeah. And they were a great help to us and inspiration. We went and seen what they do in Dallas, and they helped us in Fort Payne. And
I get the impression that you really want to pay Fort Payne back for all the support they've given you.
Well, in a way, but that's not necessarily true. It's not like we're trying to pay anybody back, because really our musical career did not really happen in Fort Payne. It was mostly in North and South Carolina, but
Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, but the people in that area, there's a lot of unemployment right now, and it's just a way of helping the kids and the people that we know needs it. And if every group or every artist could have a June Jam in their hometown, it'd make things a lot more pleasant where they're from.
Let's talk about the
REO.
Entertainers of the Year. That's a heavy trip, isn't it?
That's a heavy award. It's the most prestigious award in country music.
1981, the CMA gave you the award as the Vocal Group of the Year. And then that very next year, you became Entertainers of the Year. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was just talking to the cameraman that I ran over that year. We were doing the Live at Noon show, and he said, "Do you remember running over a guy with a camera?" And I said, "I sure do." And he said, "Well, I'm the one."
See that scar right here?
When you were rushing out to get your award.
Yeah, it's so exciting to think about. You work for so long. We were talking earlier before today's show that for Alabama it was never in between anywhere. It was either nothing was going on or everything was going on, and for 2.5 years, almost 3 years, lots of things have been going on, and it's really exciting.
I seem to recall the night you won, you had some special tribute to your dad in the show.
Yeah, my daddy was a very special person to me, and he supported me, I guess, without really ever telling me, "Hey, I support you," and he taught me how to play the guitar. And 2 weeks before we signed with RCA, he passed away, and he never really got to see. I told him that it looked like things were going to happen, and I made myself a promise that if we ever won that award, that I wanted to dedicate to my father, and it was hard. It was really a special time for me.
You were very touched. What was his name?
His name was Gladstone Ewell Owen.
Gladstone?
Yeah.
What'd they call him?
They called him GY.
Okay, Gladstone Ewell.
Right.
Owen. Randy, is your mama still living?
My mother's still living. My father was pretty young. He was 59.
Oh, that is young.
My mother's, she's 50 now, and of course she's still living. She's very active, and she still lives on the farm there, and we have a few cows and everything. She still plays the piano, and her and my two sisters sing in local churches. They sing gospel music. In fact, we're going to be doing an album in Jeff's studio very shortly with my mother and my two sisters.
Jeff, do you have the studio in Fort Payne?
Sure do, right on top of Lookout Mountain.
Is this your studio?
Yeah, it's something I've wanted just about as long as I've wanted to make it in the music business, and I've always had a certain room in one of my other house. When I set up housekeeping in, you might say, I had one bedroom devoted strictly to electronic gear and recorders.
I'm kind of curious about something you said earlier, Jeff. You said there is a nightclub in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where you got fired.
No, it's Florence, South Carolina.
Oh, Florence, South Carolina.
That's where Mark's mother worked at one of the motels there, and it was like a lounge in the motel.
Why did they fire you?
I really don't know. We had a full house every night, and even when the power went out one night, well, I'm getting to that.
Oh, okay.
Even when the power went out, we took 3 acoustic guitars and went around to the table. We're going to entertain the people, they're there. And there was snow on the ground that week, too. And we just weren't disco enough for those people. And the clientele, even though it was full, was not what they were used to having.
Is this when the disco craze was going on?
Yeah, that's it.
Your comments about Love in the First Degree.
Love in the First Degree is a song that Tim
Dubois.
and Jim Hurt are the writers on. Anyway, I remember...
Teddy didn't major in French.
Right. Anyway, I remember that Randy called one of the writers up and told them that we were going to record the song. They dropped the phone. I think it was the first song that they'd ever had recorded by a major artist.
And it went all the way to #1. I'm kind of curious about your record company. Have they tried to get you guys to go rock and roll?
No, I think
Of course, you're selling a lot of records anyway.
Well, whatever they're doing right now is working. I think they make a real concerted effort to keep us what we are, and yet get all the exposure that we can to the, I guess you call it the crossover audience. The most important thing for Alabama is to be who we are, record the music that we like.
Or maybe the question was unfair. You probably already sell to a certain element of the pop crowd anyway, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we did a thing the other night. We were thinking about getting a PA system, changing PA systems, and so we flew to Memphis to see Bob Seger, and he was using a particular system that we were thinking about getting, and so we made the mistake of getting seats and getting in the audience. And it's the same audience that came to see Bob Seger as came to see us when we were in Memphis. So
Everybody knows.
yeah, so it didn't work out at all.
Did you think they wouldn't know you?
Well, we didn't think they'd know us like they did.
What happened?
Yeah,
when
I
you
looked out on
kind of a
I looked out on the
disturbance.
crowd from backstage, and it was the same demographic, the same type people and everything, that come to our shows. It made me feel good that music is coming that much together, that
This-
people like all forms of music rather than just sticking by the
What you're
straight
saying,
line.
you went to a pop concert, Bob Seger, and everybody recognized you. I would expect that to happen. You guys are hot. You would have a hard time hiding anywhere.
I think we're hotter than we realize.
You may
Sometimes,
be. You may be.
We've been out, like you said, we was talking earlier, we've really had it going for about 3 years, and we've been performing most of those 3 years out on the road. So, they tell us our record is selling, but as far as, ever having a problem that we do now of getting out, like Randy said, it was just a few months ago, we could go to anywhere almost individually and not be recognized, but if we get together as a group, that's when people really...
Was the struggle so hard that now it is difficult to imagine your stars?
I guess that may be it.
I hope.
That may be what helps us keep our head on straight.
Because it's, I think
I imagine they mobbed you in that Memphis auditorium.
well, it was pretty. But what was really amazing about it is Mark and I just told everybody, I said, we're here to listen to the PA system, and And we would appreciate, if y'all just let us sit down and listen to
No,
the
we
show.
just want to have a good time too.
And so it
they
was
did.
it was really
Did they back off?
no, everybody just sat down and said, okay, that's good.
After a while, they accepted us as just another face in the crowd, and we all had a great time.
How about when the show was over? Did
Well,
they mob you?
No, they got us out before the show.
Okay. Randy, Teddy, and Jeff. That cut you out, didn't it, Mark? I want you to explain one more time your relationship to each other. I know you were cousins somehow.
Okay, as far as me and Teddy goes, his grandmother was my daddy's sister. And as far as Jeff and
So
myself,
his grandma,
was my aunt.
your great aunt,
No, my aunt.
your daddy's sister. Okay.
And my grandmother on my dad's side is Randy's father's first cousin.
Okay. All right. Have you figured out now which cousin you are?
It don't really matter.
I
The
know.
music's the same, you see.
I know. So you would be what cousin to these guys?
That make about third, fourth.
Somewhere.
Pick a number between 1 and 10.
9.
Okay. You are sort of related then.
Yes, we are related. The three of us are cousins.
Okay. Do you each individually have brothers?
I have no brothers.
I have no brothers.
I have one. He's a little younger than me, about 4 years, and does good to play the radio.
Okay, I want to come back in a moment, and I want to ask you about I want to get Mark into this. I want to ask you about the Mark Herndon audition when he first came to you, sent to you by his mother. Meantime, Teddy, your comments on the pretty song "My Home's in Alabama."
My Home's in Alabama was a song that Randy and I were living in the same trailer park down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. He lived about 4 trailers down. He called me up one day and said, I got this idea for a song, so why don't you come down and work on it? So I did, and My Home's in Alabama was what the song was, and he was writing it from the standpoint of my home's in the group Alabama, and I was writing it from the standpoint of my home's in the state of Alabama. And oddly enough, as it worked out, it turned out that day, I remember we thought that we'd written a pretty nice song, but we thought it was a little too personal to ever be a commercial song, but I'm glad we were wrong.
This week we are visiting with Alabama. I'm kind of curious about something. What individually have you guys done for a living before you got this thing going, other than play?
Okay, when I was going to school, I've farmed, I've picked cotton, I've picked corn, I've hauled cows, I've hung sheetrock, I've painted, I have done carpenter work, laid brick, blocks, plowed a mule, plowed a tractor.
How old are you, about 60?
Very short periods of time.
Oh,
I worked in a sock mill.
I mean making socks?
Making socks. Well, Fort Payne, Alabama is the sock capital of the world.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Right.
They make more socks there than any place in the world.
I mean, maybe the socks I've got on came from Fort Payne.
Well, let me
Very
check them out.
possible.
Check 'em out. No, probably. It's a big sock making place.
All right, Teddy, how about you?
Well, I worked at a lot of things. I was a draftsman out of high school, and I took up laying carpet. I worked in a grocery store. I've done all the things Randy's talking about, painting and construction work and that kind of stuff.
Jeff?
Well, at 13, I was playing lead in a group, and I did that through high school. At 14, I was a disc jockey through high school.
Really? Where?
3 stations, the 2 little 1,000-watt stations in our hometown, FPA and ZOB, and then later in Myrtle Beach at WYAK.
I didn't know that. The
Yeah.
Big Yak?
Big Yak.
Yeah.
Country cousin.
And also
They carry
little
the show
carpenter
on the
work
Big
in
Yak.
there.
Did you know that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we listened to your show down there one time.
Thanks, Teddy.
One day. I played it one day when I was... and then into electronics. I went to electronics school for 3 years and got a diploma in that, and worked putting microwave stations in for Western Electric, and then for the government on missile firing systems.
You worked for the government on missile firing systems?
Yeah, I figured it'd be safer if I got on out of it and went into something I knew. Something
What did
For the whole country.
Did you work at Huntsville, Alabama?
For Western Electric, yeah, but the government job was in Anniston, Alabama, at the Anniston Army Depot.
Mark, you look like you've never hit an honest lick in your life.
I was a corn and bunion removal specialist for the U.S. Navy.
Crimmins brand. Yeah.
Professional bum. No, I've done a lot of odd jobs. I worked in a chemical factory.
Tell the
Drove
truth.
trucks.
Drove a truck. Worked in a grocery store.
I'm sorry.
Worked construction. Worked on
Summing
a
it
farm.
all up, then you guys have turned an honest dollar in your time, then, haven't you?
Many times.
I forgot one thing. I used to work in a typewriter repair shop, made 60 cents an hour.
The most interesting job I ever had, I worked at the mental institution in Milledgeville, Georgia, for about 6 months.
Were you a male nurse or what?
At least he
I was-
thought he was working there.
They had me convinced I was.
This week we are visiting with Alabama, and I want to cover something. I don't want to belabor the point, but I just want to cover it briefly because you guys seldom get bad press. But there was a story about the Country Music Association Awards show in Washington, and you guys were on the show, but you were not there live, and they said some people got upset about that. Why was that, Randy?
Well, we were there at the show. The only reason why we didn't do it live was because of this song, Gonna Have a Party, which we performed at the Grammy Awards show. And,
I saw that.
and the sound was so bad. See, Ralph, we are completely different in the fact that we play and we sing. And
Now, you don't have a band backing
No,
you.
we don't have a band like an orchestra.
Well, like the Oak Ridge Boys have a band.
Right.
You don't.
No, we don't. We have to play. That's what makes performing on TV without taking a lot of time so difficult for us. And we just want a fair shake, and we want to make sure that it comes out. We don't want to cheat the people that watch TV.
When you were on the Grammy show, did you feel you did not get a fair shake?
We felt, well, I don't feel like it. We know it. We taped the show, and I thought it was terrible. The sound was bad, and they wanted us to do the song from the album, from the Mountain Music album, rather than do Mountain Music, which was a song that was a hit. And
I wondered why you selected this song rather
We
than
didn't-
one of your
So
hits.
did millions of other people.
we didn't really select it. I guess what you might say, we may have overreacted, but I really don't think we did. We want to make sure that what we do on TV is done in a professional way and it sounds right.
So when you did the CMA Awards show, you in advance taped your performance,
The night
Right.
before.
so it would be right.
Well, we hope it's right. You never know, but we think it'll be more right than what the Grammys was. You never have any problems, or we have never had any problems when we tape the CMA or here in Nashville or when it's live, but I think it's a much better acoustic.
See, I have never heard any stories in the years I have known you about you guys being prima donnas or anything like that.
Mhm.
That just doesn't happen with Alabama, does it?
We didn't
Well,
do.
we told them in advance that we were going to tape it, and it's just nobody said anything to me about it.
We weren't trying to be prima donnas. We're just concerned for our sound on the TV thing, and that we taped it the first day, the day prior to the show, and then we were there for all the events of the show day itself, and the ceremonies following and everything.
Well, I suppose I couldn't let this interview with Alabama slide unless I got into their personal lives, and I imagine everybody wants to know if you're married. So, Teddy, tell me about your family.
Yes, I'm married, Ralph. I have been married going on 11 years. I have a little girl, 4, and a little boy, 3.
How about you, Randy?
Yeah, I'm married. My wife's here today, and my little girl. I have a son that we have tied up at home right now.
He's home. He's probably already broken loose.
He's
He's
broken
eating the
loose.
grass out of the yard. And
How old is he?
He's 22 months old. Now, he's just a real rambunctious boy. They say they're all that way.
Incredible. Huh.
What is your wife's name?
My wife's name is Kelly.
How about you, Teddy?
My name's my wife.
My name.
My wife don't have a name. I just call her Honey. Her name's Linda.
All right, how about you, Jeffrey?
I'm married to a little blonde-headed girl named Josie, and I have a daughter 8 years old. Her name is Crystal. And
that's who I'm married to.
what? Crystal?
Mark,
I
are
like
you-
them young.
Are you a bachelor, Mark?
Yes,
Got it.
thankfully.
You. What do you mean, thankfully?
I don't want to be married right now. I
Having
have
too much-
no. I haven't
He's
having
married
too
to a
much
set of
fun.
drums.
I don't have any plans in the near future.
Now, this is the final sign-off with Alabama. Teddy Gentry, thank you so much.
Ralph, it's been wonderful. We enjoyed it.
And will you quit? Wait, I'll get to you. Randy Owen, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ralph. It's we're looking forward. We won't be so long coming back again.
I hope not. I missed you. And, well, all except Mark.
Okay.
Mark? Mark Herndon, thank you so much.
Join us again as KORN presents Farm News with Mosh.
And Jeff Cook.
Thank you, Dick. I mean, Ralph.